Well, fire broke out Saturday afternoon in the eastern Sierra. It is being called the Owens River Fire. At last report from the United States Forest Service, the Owens River Fire has scorched not only about 6,000 acres, but several historic cabins were destroyed on the Alpers Ranch. We'll have an interview with Tim Alpers here in just a moment. Again, at last report from the U.S. Forest Service, Owens River Fire, 6,000 acres, about 20% contained. On Sunday night, crews focused on the active western flank and worked on containing several spot fires and slopovers caused by the afternoon winds on Sunday. Crews worked on containing those areas and hose lays were put in place. Crews monitored the southern flank and have begun mop-up operations along Owens River Road. Now today, crews were focused on containing those spot fires along the western flank to better strengthen this fire line. Crews will strengthen the fire lines, patrol, and mop up along the northeast and south flanks, according to that press release, which also notes that 4 uninhabited outbuildings and several pieces of heavy equipment were destroyed during the initial response. But those buildings were actually part of the Alpers Ranch and were not only historic, but close to the heart of thousands of people who have visited Alpers Ranch over the past century or so. Now, Tim Alpers, longtime proprietor of the Alpers Ranch and Mono County 3rd District Supervisor, shared many heart-wrenching photographs and spoke with us at Sierra Wave Media about the losses. But we're talking with Tim Alpers right here, and obviously the Owens River Fire has scorched many acres and also many historic buildings. And Tim, what exactly happened out there?
Well, we had a real nasty fire. It took off from where the Clark fire was last month. It's still under investigation to exactly how it started, but it could possibly have been a smoldering stump or log held over from the Clark fire. But nevertheless, it's burned a tremendous area, clear up through and around Big Springs Campground, down through the Arcularius and Alpers ranches, all of Clark Canyon, up into Alpers Canyon, up on Indiana Summit. The entire face of Bald Mountain is burned off, clear down to McLaughlin Canyon, and the flat country of Upper Long Valley is totally scorched. It looks like the surface of the moon out there.
Wow. And what happened with some of your old buildings there? And I hate to say old, but obviously historic at Alpers Ranch.
Well, yes. First of all, let me say this: the Forest Service and the IC team and the firefighters, the helicopters, the planes, they just did a fantastic job. They did all they could to save as much property. Trying to make water drop through the thick smoke. It was extremely hazardous and difficult. But I'm very pleased to report that on the Arcularius Ranch, all the buildings were saved down there. Not quite the luck on the old Alpers Ranch. The fire made a turn late Saturday and came up and just scorched 5 historic cabins at the southeast, the lower end of the Alpers Ranch, one of which was a old homestead cabin that was built back in the 1860s by the homesteader, and then old ranch houses built by my grandfather, Fred Alpers, and a couple of other log cabins, and a very historic cabin that my sister and I lived in when we were little tiny tykers back in the early 50s. So, it's a real loss. And the country is really scorched. It's not going to look the same for many, many years. The Upper Owens River is a place in the heart of many of our fishermen and our visitors up here. I've heard from literally hundreds of folks, ranch guests from both the Arcularius and the Alpers ranches when they were commercial operations. The owners of the ranches are out here now with teams assessing damage and doing cleanup, and the mop-up work by the multi-agency team out here has just been fantastic. So it's this whole idea of fire attacking us all the time here in the Eastern Sierra is new to us. Fires on this scale. But until the drought breaks, it's just something we're going to have to get used to. And I just hope that those using the forest, a lot of illegal camps, a lot of ATVs out there, I'm just hoping that they can become educated and the Forest Service can work with these particular groups and put educational material out there, easy to access, or else our recreation resource up here is going to be in real jeopardy.
Yeah. Tim, I can hear it in your voice, kind of emotional. Like you said, you and your sister grew up in one of these around, your father, your grandfather building these. It's got to be a tough couple days for you.
Well, yeah, it has a special meaning for my sister and I, and my niece Amanda, and my grandnephew Jared. You know, we're the immediate family. It has it's moved out of the family in 2008, but in the hundreds of guests that came, it just has a lifetime meaning for them, and that's how we build our long-term visitors up here. We have places like Alpers and Arcularius ranches. And other resorts and destinations up here in the Eastern Sierra that people come back on a generational basis, and we hope that tradition can stay alive. But this fire is it's just bedeviling the Eastern Sierra right now, and I just hope that we can get out of this drought cycle soon and get back to normal here.
Yeah, I was just going to say this is almost the new normal, unfortunately. Tim, I know you got a lot of things to do, but we sure appreciate you taking the time, and best of luck, and sorry for, yours and the entire Eastern Sierra's loss.
Thank you, Bob.
Right.
Carry on.
Thank you, Tim.
Well, we thank Tim Alpers for that. The Big Springs Campground, Clark Canyon, that's a popular climbing area. Nearby ranches and developments have been evacuated. The Owens River Road and the Whitmore Springs roads are closed. Visitors are advised to avoid the Bald Mountain Road as well. And the press release from the USFS notes, for your and the fire crew safety, please avoid that fire area. Obviously, smoke is visible from locations throughout the Highway 395 corridor, including Bishop, Mammoth Lakes, June Lake, and Lee Vining. Press release notes the smoke will settle in the valleys at night under the cool inversion layer. At last report, 9 hand crews, 48 engines, 3 air tankers, 7 helicopters, 3 dozers, and 6 water tenders assigned to the fire. 483 personnel battling the Owens River fire. Cause under investigation, but appears to be human caused. And again, we thank Tim Alpers for his help in there. Well, Inyo County Clerk, Recorder, Registrar of Voters Cammie Foote, nationally recognized, and the Inyo County Board of Supervisors reminding residents that deadlines for registering to vote in the upcoming November 8 general election are fast approaching. Now, in addition to selecting a new president of the United States and deciding the fate of 17 statewide ballot measures, registered voters in Inyo County will be asked to weigh in on 3 questions related to commercial cannabis activity. Those questions were placed on the ballot by the Inyo County Board of Supervisors and include Measure G. Should the County of Inyo adopt regulations which would allow commercial cannabis businesses within the county, included but not limited to cultivation, processing, manufacturing, sales, distribution, warehousing, and transportation of medical cannabis? Also, Measure H. If Proposition 64, the Marijuana Legalization Initiative statute, passes, should the County of Inyo adopt regulations which would allow commercial cannabis businesses within the county, included to, but not limited to, cultivation, processing, manufacturing, sales, distribution, warehousing, and transportation of recreational cannabis? Measure I, shall the county ordinance adding Chapter 3.50 to the Inyo County Code imposing a 5% gross receipts tax on commercial marijuana businesses, but no less than $1,250 per growing cycle for cultivation businesses in the unincorporated areas of Inyo County, and authorizing the Inyo County Board of Supervisors to increase that tax to a maximum of 12.5% over time, be adopted. Now approved for placement on the November ballot at the Inyo County Board's August 9th meeting. The first two measures are advisory in nature, meaning they simply were created to give the board an indication of public sentiment about the possible adoption of regulations allowing commercial cannabis businesses within Inyo County, either for recreational or medicinal purposes. Now, the third measure, if approved, would enact a tax on January 1st, 2017 on any cannabis operations within Inyo County. Inyo County Board of Supervisors described it as a just-in-case move, according to a press release, a means of putting a tax schedule in place in the event the aforementioned activities do become legal in Inyo County. Now, residents wanting to weigh in on these questions who aren't currently registered to vote, you do have until Monday, October 24th to do so. Cammie Foote noted that residents can register in person at the Inyo County Courthouse in Independence or the DMV in Bishop, or by sending a postage-free form through the mail, which are available at the DMV, the City Hall in Bishop, and all branches of the Inyo County Free Public Library. You can also go to the website registertovote.ca.gov. Now, the press release also notes that residents who aren't sure of their current voting status can now go to the Inyo County Elections website, and that is elections.inyocounty.us. You can instantly find out by entering your last name and date of birth. The new feature is one of two tools recently created by the Inyo County Information Services Department at our great Cammie Foote's request in order to make the voting process that much easier for Inyo County residents. The other tool, found at, again, elections.inyocounty.us, helps voters find their polling place on Election Day. Now, voters who would prefer not to go to the polls and would rather vote by mail also have until October 24th to register, but can begin voting as soon as October 10th. The last day registered voters may request vote by mail ballots is November 1st. Now, Cammie Foote said her office started sending out absentee ballots to military and overseas ballots on September 13th. If you would like more information on the November 8th election, you can contact the Inyo County Elections Office phone number 760-878-0222, or again, visit that website, elections.inyocounty.us. All 17 statewide ballot measures can be found at sos.ca.gov, and you can check out all that is coming up in the upcoming election in November. We'll be back with more news.